Welcome back. So, after the disappointment of the last rock that I did, we're gonna do a guaranteed half decent stone. So this is from the Jennie and Shane Opal parcel, rough Opal parcel that I got from them, the custom one. So it's a small piece of Belemnite. It's got a lot of colour in it, so I mean, I don't even need to try. Any direction I point this thing in is going to flash your greens and blues. There's no reds, it is just green, blue, and that kind of off-green yellow. Looking at the piece fairly closely, see if I can zoom in without it getting a bit out of focus. So unfortunately that's not overly intact. There is a corner piece missing out of here, out of this side, so it's already going to not be a perfect shape. And there's also a lot of potch, a lot of sand inclusion on this outer edge, and that goes all the way through the piece, because if I look at the other end, there it is there as well. So I am going to have to, there might be a little bit of red hidden under there. I'm going to have to bring this edge in as well. But it's going to be a simple case of just taking off all this sand, having a look at what's underneath, and then deciding where to go from there. Tidy up some of these kind of fractured edges. I'll probably round off the edges because no one likes a sharp edge catching their finger or whatever. And yeah, we'll see how it goes from there. So time to get it under the blade. Here we are over the water. Alright, so just having another look at this piece. A lot of colour in the middle. This camera is just not quite as good as picking it up as my phone, surprisingly, but my phone takes up so much space I can't see past it when it's up here, so I'm stuck with this camera for now. It does pick it up. So yeah, a lot of green. It's a beautiful crystal, so you can see straight through it. I'll have some examples of some cloudier white opals coming up after this. But yeah, and all of this colour is while it's still dry too, so we just drop him into the water, or even just leave him under the water. I mean, you can see there the flashes coming through. I mean, the green on this front edge is really bright. I really wish that chip wasn't there. This would be a top-notch gem at that point. But we can only work with what we've got. So we'll go, and I'm not going to go to the ultra coarse grits. I'm just going to use this Gem Cuts beginners carving set, the coarsest one, and then I'm going to skip over this one probably. I might give it a quick zap with that one, but then go straight to this one over here once I've got through the bulk of the crud. And then we're just going to slowly go through each of these, and I'll show you what each pre-polish stage looks like before I move on. And then we'll finally polish it up with cerium oxide and felt. So let's do this. Alright, so we should get an update at this point. So you just saw there a chip come out. There was a bit of sand, a big chunk of sand, and it's actually come free. It was alongside this big chunk of sand here, and you don't really want any sharp edges like that. So what I'm trying to do at the moment is, because there's still some deep sand spots in the middle, rather than drilling in carving you kind of want to have nice curves rather than hard edges. So there's still some of these black inclusions in here as well that are really close to the surface now. I can see that from the front. And ideally I just get this opal nicely finished so that it just sits there on a flat base like this. That's the current plan, to make the best case out of the thick bit of sand on the back. So basically that's the idea. You've got to think about the shape as you're going along, and I mean that it'll all depend on how it's tracking, and you'll have to think on the fly when you're doing this. But basically my plan is to have like a flat base on the bottom that it can sit on something, and just get rid of all these little inclusions at the back. This chip that's now come out has to be rounded, but I'm going to be going a lot deeper anyway, so I'm going to be going down to that level, so it's not going to be a big deal. But yeah, basically aiming for this to be flat, and then rounding off the edges of both sides of the flat. But I need to get rid of this sand patch, and it still goes in quite a while, down to about here, so I've still got another half a mil or so to go. And if that sand patch is too much deeper, then I'll probably just round that out a little bit and have like a smaller divot in the middle, but overall the base be fairly flat so I can sit on a solid surface with the amazing colour side up. As you can see, it's coming through really well. When that's polished, that's going to look real good. The only other problem is when it's polished you'll see those inclusions, so still got some work to do, and we'll get rid of them, don't you worry about that. Okay, so that's the majority of the sand gone. There's one small spot in the middle, and there's an inclusion that's actually still fairly deep, a little dark black speck, which is really annoying. But I think to get rid of it I'll have to end up losing quite a bit of stone, and it's getting into that point where the colour's coming through as well, so it means starting to lose colour. As for the shape, it's, if I can get it square on, it's basically got the flat base and then a rounded top. Unfortunately that chunk that came out of it there that's showing the colour through is kind of making that a bit of a flat spot as well. I've still got to do a little bit of shaping because of that sand spot that created a bit of a divot there. But apart from that, there's another small inclusion right on the face there which I can get rid of. There is a little bit of sand still on this side, so I should round that off a bit. Yeah, but apart from that, if we look at it dry, yeah, so sand spot. This area needs to be straightened out a bit, but I can't do it with this coarse bit because that'll start chipping away at the edge. You can already see there that it's a little bit jagged rather than a straight line across. It's got a couple little chunks out of it, and then this one's got a huge chunk out of it just because of that sand spot. The chip that came out of here in the corner, you can see it shining slightly in the light because it's not foggy. That needs to just be rounded out a little bit more. But apart from that, we're looking pretty good. There's a whole heap of sand I see over in this corner here now that it's dry. So I'm going to have to round that off. There's a little bit of a chip in there anyway, so I think that side can come in a bit more. But yeah, we'll drop down one of the grit sizes to do that, I think. So yeah, quick pause here and I'll change the bits over. Small bit, well, not small bit, finer grit bit. This does pick it up. So this bit hasn't actually been used before, and it's the third bit in the beginner's set. And you can see here at the tip where it's really shiny compared to this, which is really matte. So that, I think it's just a quality control thing with these bits, that sometimes you can get one that's actually been either not coated properly or it's scraped up against something during the manufacturing process. It's even given the point a bit more of a flat spot over here, which is a bit unfortunate, but at the same time, this was a $15 kit for all of these, so I don't know, I guess you get what you pay for in most of these sorts of things. So yeah, just a little bit of a disappointment really in these bits, but whatever, we will deal. So fine bit, we're going to go back to attacking this, tidying up the edges, getting rid of a few of the tinier sand spot which I've almost got out, but want to do it more delicately now. And yeah, let's do it. We also just want to take out some of the really big cutting marks that the last bit would have left. This one will leave the cutting marks as well, but to a lesser degree, so it's good to slowly improve. Makes it easier towards the end. Alright, so every edge is nice and smooth under the fingers. You're not catching anywhere, there's no little chips or anything out of anywhere. I've had a good look, but it's wet, so it's hard to tell and see if we got rid of any of those final little sand spots. I feel like I can see one there. But once again, if you want to really check it out, just hit it with a towel, dry it up. And then you have a look, and it goes all frosty, so you can see here that it's all gone frosty. That little shiny spot there is a little kind of one part of the breakage that was along here that hasn't quite been ground all the way down to, so I want to hit that again. I want to take off a little bit of an edge here, right next to that chip. There's still some sand here, but I don't think I'm going to be able to get that out without losing some of that colour right amongst it. At the bottom there is one small spot here. There's still a small spot over here. You can see here it's not foggy, so foggy, not foggy. That's where the pieces originally sheared off the rest of it. And yeah, the way Opal breaks, it's just like glass, so instead of getting this frosted appearance, you're going to get that smooth, shiny, almost polished looking appearance. So that just shows that I haven't ground across here at all, which I do want to do a little bit just to smoothen out some of it. So that'll go frosty in a minute. But yeah, I still want to hit this little patch of sand and that one there as well. It's only tiny, it might not even come up on the camera, but it's definitely there. There, and there. Again, it's just getting to the point where I can't actually see any of those imperfections that I was aiming for, so hit it with the towel, bring it back. Pretty happy with that side, it's nice. There's a bit of glassiness there where I haven't actually hit it with the diamond bits, but that's okay. I don't really want to change the shape of that surface. Same with here, I've just smoothened it a little bit, so there's still some shiny in the center here, but I don't really want to change that too much. All I want to do is make sure those sand spots are gone. They are. Except for the one patch over here that I'm trying to avoid. Yeah, so it's looking really good. I want to hit this side a little bit more. I'm seeing too many big cutting marks from the previous bit. So I want to hit that. I might give this a little bit more of a play as well. But otherwise, yeah, we're pretty close. That should just about do us, I reckon. I had another crack at the inclusions over this side and I've actually gotten rid of them. It's squared up that edge a little bit, but I'm okay with that. So this is the point where you're looking for any last minute changes you want to make. Any areas that you see any impurities or any chips or anything, any really strong cutting marks, this is when you want to attack it. But to me, I'm pretty happy with that. That's looking like a really nice gem. So at this point, I'm going to switch over bits. I'm going to go from this rubberized tip here all the way through to the bottom here, and then I'll be back and we'll have a look at what it looks like. This is it now, dry. It's just got that foggy appearance. And yeah, we'll see how this goes. Alright, so here we are at the end of all of the soft bits. So I've gone through each one of these. We started here, we skipped this, went through the fine diamond grit, and then we've gone through all the soft tips, and we're left with this. So you can see that the cloudiness that you saw before is still there, but just to a lesser degree. But basically this is all ready to get the final polish. I can actually see a bit of a nick there. Camera picks up more than I can see by eye. See if we can clean that out. So yeah, at this stage, when it's this kind of pre-polish, no major cutting marks amongst the stone. We're basically going to use Cerium oxide and a felt tip. So just on the same tool, just on the end of the rotary tool. You can see that it's stained from the color of the Cerium oxide that I use currently. So yeah, basically at this point, the last stage is just to attack this with the Cerium oxide on felt until you get the polish you're happy with. Because this is such a nice colourful piece, I will try to get it quite a nice mirror finish. But we'll see how it goes. Hopefully it doesn't take too long. It shouldn't be too bad because we've done all the hard work really already with the soft tips. Got all the cutting marks out. We're really just trying to get rid of that slight haziness that you see. I've talked about it in previous videos, but it's kind of like that bathroom glass kind of thing where it distorts the person standing behind it. But at this point it's just got less and less foggy, and now we're going to get rid of the final bits of fog. It's a beautiful gem. So nice. The back's got a little bit of color on it there, but that top section is a brilliant blue turned to green. So yeah, a really nice piece, and the flat bottom lets it sit pretty flush against a flat surface, so I'm a big fan. Much better than the previous one that we did, so alright, let's do it. Let's Cerium oxide this thing until it's nice and shiny. The grand reveal. We've gone through, done the rough grinding, the finer grinding to clear up all the edges and last little bits and pieces that we had to be careful with. We've run the gauntlet of soft tips, and we've ended up with one hell of a jam. So we'll give it a quick spin around. It's quite brilliant on the top. So we got a lot of the blue and green right on top. This face is, if we can actually hold on to him. This face has got a nice little pattern, and then even in that bold patch there where it's not showing much from this angle, you just tweak it slightly, bam, flesh of grain across there. Deeper down there are a couple purples and greens and stuff coming through again, but yeah, most of that colour's on the top. The bottom's pretty jelly-like, but it does have this light spray paint kind of effect of green and blue as well. So overall, a very, very good gem. Very nice. Much better than the past one that I've uploaded. And sometimes you can't have yourself have two bad sessions in a row, so it's good to always back up a disappointing stone with something that you knew would be quite decent. It's also got a nice little orange amber kind of glow to it, and deep down inside you can occasionally get a bit of a flash of red, but yeah, it's a very nice gem. The last thing to do, I guess, is to get a quick weight of it. So that's a bit under 5 carats. Not too bad. It's hard to see with this light being like that, but yeah. 4.815. Not bad. Got quite a nice mirror finish on it in the end, which was good. It takes a little bit of work, just because when you're doing a cab, you're just working on the top surface and the sides, but with something like this, I'm trying to polish the entire thing, and holding onto it's pretty tough. You know you're heading in the right direction when it starts getting really slippery and hard to hold onto like it is now. I mean, even if I just put it down and just try picking it up, it actually requires a bit of effort. But yeah, really nice piece of Belemnite. Yeah, I realised that I didn't do a lot of description as I was doing this carving, like I did in the whetstone and sandpaper methods, but I might do that in a future video where I go into full detail on everything that I'm thinking about as I'm going through the process on one of these stones. I'll probably do it on a more standard kind of opal rather than a fossilized piece of belemnite or something. But yeah, that's it for this video. Quick little showcase of this. It's a really nice gem. But yeah, I'll catch you in the next one.